Hi everyone, I'm Daniel, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about the current environment. If you don't know, sometime soon we'll be switching over to having more play environments for Arkham Horror, the card game. First of all, if you want to play with every card in the game, everything that you own, you're playing in what's called Legacy. If you're just going to be playing with what we now know as Current, the beta Current includes cards from the core set, the revised core set, the 5 investigator starter decks: Jacqueline Fine, Harvey Walters, Nathaniel Cho, Winifred Havemuck, and Stella Clark, as well as investigator cards from the last 3 expansions. So right now that's Drowned City, that is Feast of Hemlock Vale, and before that was Scarlet Keys. So all of those cards. But the idea, at least as we know it now, is that once the next expansion comes out, we lose Scarlet Keys and we gain a different player card expansion. If you have no interest in this and you just want to play every card you own, then great. No more relevance for this video. However, if you're just interested in thinking about which of the cards are staying in current that were printed in other expansions but got a reprint in the starter decks or in the Rise Core, that's what this whole video is about. So I'm just kind of curious to see which are those cards that will continue to stay in current because of the reprints. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if we're getting a different current environment after this year. I don't know if we're getting new investigator starter decks to add, or new reprints, or replacements of these cards that we already have. I have no idea, but this is what we know as of October, early October 2025. So let's just dive in. And it's kind of interesting to see what they were thinking or not thinking when they reprinted cards in those investigator starter decks. So the very first one, of course, we'll look at is from the Dunwich Legacy. And this is interesting to me also because they were designing the core set and the Dunwich Legacy more or less at the same time, right? So the idea was that the cards that they couldn't fit into the Dunwich Legacy, they stuck into, sorry, in the core set, they stuck into the next expansion. So to some extent, the cards here that were printed there are generic in the sense that they should be able to fit into any deck and not just be stuck in a particular archetype. That's maybe an idea that they had, and we'll see that the most number of reprints are from this set. So the first 6 here we're looking at are from the Guardian class, the level 4 version of I've Had Worse, which was reprinted in the revised core. So this is probably always going to stay current no matter what. It's not a great card. It's a level 4 card that cancels damage and or horror dealt to you, and you get resources for it. Awesome, but for 4 XP, it's something that doesn't happen enough to get that either full value or even the 4 resources from like a 2 and 2 attack from an enemy. It's just tough to make space in your deck for something like this. It's a strange reprint because in the Circle Undone, they did a level 2 version of this card. And I don't know why they didn't just print the level 2 version in the revised core. It would have seen way more play for both Roland and Skids for that matter. Anyway, this is the one we have. They originally printed it in Dunwich, so this is your always current card. You'll notice that the Guardian cards didn't get reprinted very much. This is just one of, I believe, 2 of the whole set we're looking at today that got a reprint in the Rise Core or the starter decks. Notably, I'm not talking about the ones that got reprinted from the core that was original. So Nathaniel Cho got a reprint of Vicious Blow, of Physical Training, of Dodge. But yeah, we don't need to talk about those cards because they're in the core and always have been. We're just focusing on things that got a first printing in something other than the core and then got a reprinting in either the revised core or one of the investigator starter decks. So moving on to the Jacqueline Fine deck, we got Defiance, level 0, Hypnotic Gaze, level 0, and Ritual Candles. And these are kind of neat cards for being, again, quite generic, but at the same time for Jacqueline Fine, they care about this idea of token manipulation. So drawing a particular token does something good. For Defiance, it's ignoring the effects. For Hypnotic Gaze, it's dealing damage back to an enemy. And Ritual Candles gives you a skill boost. So this is a nice set of things for that idea, that archetype of token manipulation, which for Jim Culver, who came out in this set originally, it made a lot of sense. That said, the other reason Hypnotic Gaze is probably in the Jacqueline Fine deck is there's an upgraded version in her deck, level 2, which is a much better card, even though it's still not played a whole lot. So it is nice to have that for the fact that you can upgrade into a very similar card from level 0. We don't actually have any discounts anymore in current for upgrading spells. We would have had that with Down the Rabbit Hole, Arcane Research. Those cards aren't part of the environment now, but we still have a bit of a legacy of having level 0 cards that upgrade into level 2 or above. Speaking of, the two survivor cards we're looking at here also have level 0 or level 2 counterparts somewhere. So Aquina, this is the level 3 version that originally was printed in Dunwich, but got reprinted in the core alongside the level 1 version that's already there. It's not really an interesting effect for most survivors, so I don't know why they chose to throw that upgrade in there, but okay. You can absorb damage and instead deal. Sorry, you still take horror from the attack, but if you get attacked, you deal the damage that you get attacked by back to an enemy, which is cool, but a pretty expensive and kind of niche effect if you're playing Wendy, and that's kind of, or Stella, is not great, but maybe there will be some other new survivors who care about this. I mean, right now, Daniela is the one who kind of runs this deck, and not being part of current, it's kind of okay. Notably, it's worth thinking that when they designed the Investigator starter decks, it was around the time of Dream Eaters, probably, because as you'll see, there's nothing reprinted from Dream Eaters onwards, which may have been when they were working on Edge of the Earth as well. So maybe they're thinking a little bit about those Investigators. And then we have Oops. This was, again, originally in Dunwich, got a reprint in Stella Clark. There's a level 2 version in Return to Dunwich, and we don't have that one. Unfortunate, because the level 0 version here, Oops, fast play after you fail a skill test by 2 or less while attacking enemy engaged with you. Deal this attack's damage to a different enemy at your location, is super niche. You have to have a lot of hoops to jump through to make this work, and the level 2 version is actually quite good. That one, you can fail by 3. You deal the damage to any enemy. It works very well with Stella's whole shtick of increasing skill test difficulty with Quick Learner. I've played this on the channel already. It works really, really nice. It also doesn't require you to be engaged with the enemy, I think. Um, so you don't attack, you don't get the damage hit to another investigator. So it's a much better card, and unfortunately, it's gone, and we're left with this card. Unfortunately, it's not horrible. It's just that it makes much more sense if you can get that level 2 version as well. That's not all the cards. We're missing a couple classes here. So let's take a look at the next slide here, where we're looking at the Seeker and Neutral cards. No Rogue cards got reprinted from Dunwich, which is interesting. So two staples from Harvey Walters that were originally from Dunwich Legacy that have a lot to do with card draw. Preposterous Sketches, level 0, play only if there's a clue on your location, draw 3, cost 2, which is okay. It's an okay card, right? It's one of those cards that you would like to upgrade into, say, the Cryptic Research card, which is fast, draw 3, doesn't cost you anything, but that's level 4. Plays along with this Seeker big hand size thing. So the Laboratory Assistant, of course, allows you to have more cards in hand. So that is her very, very strong ally in basically anyone who can take her, because it's really cheap, drawing 2 cards on a draw, on a play, and then the Horror Soak is nice. So this is just a really good card to have in the card pool, hopefully forever. It's a strong card. And it doesn't really have a good replacement for any other card. Like, you can do something like this with Dream Enhancing Serum from Dream Eaters, but this is like the effect that you want for hand size increase. And you can have 2 of them in play too. Okay, there's the neutral cards. Emergency Cache level 2. It's just one more card in addition to your 3 resources. Nothing much to say about this. It's fine for level 2, right? You're probably better off spending your 2 XP somewhere else first, but this isn't bad, right? getting the economy and the card at the same time is really good. And then you probably knew this, but the Relic Hunter and Charisma are in the revised core now as well, and they are just really good. Just nice to have this effect in the game. When I said before that probably this set was designed at the same time as the core, they needed to have this effect somewhere, and they just went with it pretty quickly into Dunwich Legacy. So that's that. Little honorable mention here. Rite of Seeking level 2 is in the revised core now. It was originally in Return to Dunwich Legacy. So it is a level 2 version of a spell that's a level 0 spell in Dunwich. And that one didn't get reprinted. So we have no level 0 Rite of Seeking. We have no level 4 Rite of Seeking, but we have the level 2 version, which is still quite good for anyone who can take an off-class Mystic 0 to 2. You can pick up this level 2 spell to investigate and do really, really well, especially nowadays where we have so many ways to add charges to things. This is going to do quite well in any Mystic, even ones that are going to be fighting mostly. You just throw this down and you can suddenly contribute quite a bit to cluing. It's just interesting that that was thrown into, but we'll see in the next slide what the other addition to the revised core set was for Mystics. Okay, Path to Carcosa has just these 7 cards, so we don't have 2 slides here, and this is where all the rogue cards went. First, though, we have First Aid, level 3. That's the other upgrade that we got from the revised core in from these reprints. We have nothing. I don't think there's anything at all in Nathaniel Cho that was a reprint other than those core set reprints I mentioned earlier. It makes a little bit of sense because he's got so many cards that need to be spirits and do the event attacking thing, that there's just no room for some of those other ones. But there were a few upgrades of existing cards. I believe Mano a Mano level 1 is from Carcosa, but the level 2 you get only in Nathaniel Cho. Anyway, First Aid level 3 it's a good effect to have always in the game. Healing 1 damage and 1 horror from an investigator or ally is pretty important, at your location, just to have it. It's not efficient, but it does the job. It's something that is fine. uh, yeah, there's better healing out there. This one at least isn't bad. It's cheap. It heals 2. It can do 8 damage horror. It has to be 1 and 1, of course, over the course of its lifespan, so it's fine. Okay, we have 2 Mystic cards. Scrying, level 3. We had Scrying level 0 in the core set, so here's an upgrade to it. This one lets you look at the top 3 cards of any investigator deck or the encounter deck, return them to the top of the deck in any order. If a terror or omen card is among the looked at cards, take a horror. So it lets you see what's upcoming. And it's particularly nice, I think, for Gloria right now, who uses this ability for lots of reasons. But as an upgrade from the level 0, it's good because it doesn't cost you an action anymore. It's a free trigger. Otherwise, I'm not really playing this. It's here. I guess it's fine that they added to the core set. There were a lot of better things they could have done. Maybe an upgraded shriveling instead. But this is what we got. So there it is. Astral Travel is the other one that got added. Sorry, this is in Jacqueline Fine's deck, actually. And this is another, I think, overlooked card because it's so darn expensive. But Mystics don't have any good movement tech. But then you look at this card and say, wait a minute. Everyone else says, I need to move from this side of the map to the other. I could just play Astral Travel. It's going to eat up a part of my hand or my deck for a while, but when you need it, it actually is going to save quite a bit. So I think this card is a bit underrated, even though it's not really, I mean, it's not really what you plan to do unless you're teching for a scenario. And that 3 resources is just a bunch. Anyway, it's there. The losing an item or ally is not horrible, simply because you're probably running something like Arcane Initiate that you don't mind losing. And you might be at the part of the scenario where it doesn't matter as much anymore. You're just trying to get out. Okay, the rogue cards are all here. Daring Maneuver, this one got reprinted in Winifred. Cheap Shot got reprinted in Winifred. Lockpicks and 41 Derringer got reprinted in the revised core. So Daring Maneuver is a card that saves you basically for all of those you need to succeed by two or more or three to get something special. So that works well with Cheap Shot, Lockpicks, and the 41 Derringer, which all care about you succeeding by a certain amount. I think most people don't play this card because they just try to do this in other ways and not have to hold back a card in their hand. And when deck space gets tight, I understand. I think this is just kind of a card that doesn't do enough, but you could consider it. It's nice to have in the card pool as a complement to the general rogues like to succeed by a bunch archetypes, which we'll see more in a second too. Cheap Shot itself, I think, is good. There's an upgrade to it in Winifred, so that's nice to have the level 0 and the level 2. Her deck comes with Chuck Fergus, so this is a nice addition to the events that are tricks and tactics to use with him. There'll be more in a second. But yeah, it's just an okay way of dealing with enemies. It's perfectly fine. Lockpicks, however, is huge. Yes, we got the level 0 in Winifred's deck. The level 1 is going to open up that idea of getting one clue per turn, especially as a flex rogue, to basically anyone who can run it. Level 0, you really need to run it in just a few investigators who have a base 8 or definitely 9. The level 1 here, you could reasonably use it in anyone. So it's really good that this is here. It gives rogues something to do all the time. 41 Derringer is also, I think, quite underrated. I think people are starting to see how good this weapon is more recently, especially with Michael McGlenn. It's just a gun that gets the job done. Succeeding by 1 to deal the extra damage is fine. It's cheap to play. And if you are really playing around the succeed by a bunch, getting the extra action is huge. It really is. That is how you win games. You get that extra action economy, and you can make a lot of things happen on your turn and change the game state. So that's Carcosa. It's interesting that we got a bunch here from rogues, considering that the rogue here is Safina, who doesn't actually use most of these that well, but in the larger context of say Skids, Winifred, whoever else is coming out in the future, these are good, pretty generic cards that are just useful, I think. All right, Forgotten Age. One more Mystic card, Dark Prophecy. This one is back to our token manipulation archetype. So Father Mateo is the one who came out in this expansion, who cares about that quite a bit. The only card we got along with him, though, into Jacqueline's deck is Dark Prophecy. It's a good card. This one allows you to cancel a token, basically, and pick one of those symbol tokens instead. So you reveal 5, you choose one with one of those symbols. Sometimes you get screwed and take the auto fail, but usually you can get one of those other symbol tokens that you know you're going to pass the test with. So that's good. And then you're good to go. It works really nice in Jacqueline, obviously, to sort of supplement her ability. It's good in Jim. It's going to be good in anyone else who cares about token cancellation. So currently that's Agatha who likes to do that in the Mystic class. Not much more to say. It's just a solid card that fills out your deck pretty well. Okay, we have another trick, just like the cheap shot that we saw before. Slip Away does the same thing where you add two skills together. If you succeed by 2 or more, something good happens. It's just the evade version. We have the upgrade also in Winifred, so yay. But the real prize here is Lucky Cigarette Case. The level 0 version is a core card to this game. It's very, very good. And it's hard to find other accessory slot items to fill this slot. And it's nice to just have this always available because Winifred brings it along with her in her deck, along with the level 3 card, which is one of the strongest cards in the game, period, just because it searches your deck instead of just drawing the top card. But yeah, this is just like how you feel a lot of things that happen in this game. The card draw is important. In the core set, we have the Survivor version, which is after you fail a skill test, period, exhaust Rabbit's Foot, draw a card. Lucky Cigarette Case needs to be here in the game. It's such a staple in terms of what rogues do. Survivors fail. Rogues like to succeed by a certain amount, usually 2 or more. So this is just really, really good. This was Finn's set. It's fine in him, I think. It's good in anyone really. But combine that with lockpicks, combine that with daring maneuver, slip away, cheap shot, all the other good stuff that comes in Winifred's deck as well. This is just a fantastic addition to your card pool. So if nothing else, hopefully this is selling you on how much these cards add to the core set itself. They were so crucial in the original sets that they came out in that they needed to reprint them to make those other decks make more sense if you don't have these original cards. It's hit or miss. Not everything I think is selling me on that, but Lucky Sig Case level 0 definitely does. And I don't know. I mean, again, if we get new investigator starter decks, or I don't know, if we lose these, this card, it would be very sad to see it go. We'd need something that's also kind of similar, but this one needs to stay current, I think. Along with Take Heart and probably Live and Learn. These are core archetypes to survivors who want to fail. Not all of them want to fail all the time, but they have a lot of synergies around failing skill tests. Generally, in this game, with the full card pool, most investigators don't fail tests unless they draw the auto fail. They can play in a way in which you just almost never fail on standard, anyways, because I'm up 4, even if I'm up 3, it's close enough. So it's fun to have that class that says, try to push your luck a little bit more. Try to play closer to the skill value. If you fail, oh well, I'll still gain something. And if I pass, then great, I pass the test. Stella takes that, I think, to the extreme where you want to fail on purpose. And having cards like Take Heart, which you commit to a test you know you're going to fail, then you get some economy out of it. Draw 2 cards, gain 2 resources. Live and Learn lets you attempt the skill test again, so you can have that Take Heart, benefit from it, and then take the skill test again with a +2. It's just a wacky card. It's a really nice alternate version of Lucky, which is a core set card. This is different, but different in interesting ways. So these two were originally in Calvin's deck, and he just failed tests all over the place, but makes much more sense, of course, in Stella. Um, these days, I think with George Barnaby, who are the last 2 survivors? We got Daryl and Hank. Hank, to some extent, could play the fail game, but all 3 of these investigators could succeed by a lot. Like Hank and Daryl both have 5s in their main stat. George, not as much, but he can commit all kinds of crazy skills, so he's not really playing the fail game either. I like to see them come back to it because I think it's a core component of the what makes survivors different than the other classes. So it's nice to see these cards here. They're good in off class, of course. If you are Finn and have 1 willpower, just toss the Take Heart at the rotting remains, and you're good. I mean, you're still taking the horror, of course, but you're getting something else out of it. And the last one here is Dumb Luck. This one is like the suite of Look What I Found, Oops, and this one is after you fail a skill test by 2 or less doing an evasion attempt against a non-elite. This removes the enemy from play, which is interesting. It's less played than the other 2 in the same way that the evade spells, events, etc. all are less played than the attack and the clue ones. But it's interesting. You can do some neat stuff with this. The level 2 version, which is in Stella's deck as well, so again, more of this nice upgrade tree going on in the decks, is better because it puts the card, the enemy, in the bottom of the deck instead of the top. So it works pretty well. But yeah, sure, it's here. Not much more to say about it, but it's not leaving the current environment as we know it. That's Forgotten Age, just the 6 cards here. So you can see that we've gone from, I think it was, what, like 12 in Dunwich, 7, Carcosa, 6 here. And then we move to Circle Undone. We have 1 reprint. It was You Catastrophe in the revised core. So you might recognize it if you only have that product. It's a good card. It's a very strong event that when you reveal a chaos token that would reduce your skill value to 0, including the auto fail, you cancel it, treat the token as a elder sign instead. So you just succeed probably and get some crazy good benefit if you're playing this card. It's good. It's very good. Why they chose to reprint in the core set, I don't know. I mean, this isn't exactly a survivor mechanic to me, even though there are some survivors who have excellent elder signs. It's it's still kind of luxury. But if you have nothing else to upgrade into, it's good. Um, but that's it. They kind of stopped doing all of the reprinting at that point and said the rest of the cards don't mesh as much with the investigators were reprinting or were printing, and maybe they weren't finished designing some of those sets too. So um, uh, I don't know what happened in design, but we just have one, and there's nothing else afterwards, unless I missed anything. And if I missed something, let me know in the comments. But I think I got all of these cards that you may be familiar with from playing the game a long time ago as being part of these sets, but aha, they're actually not leaving current. So you could still include them and include them in the archetypes of new investigators too. That is about it for me. Thanks for watching. I'm again curious what to see what actually comes of the current environment next year. As far as my plans on the channel, it really depends. I will continue to play Legacy and talk about Legacy a lot because it's cool. That said, if you haven't noticed for my gameplay, almost always I'm either playing solo, in which case I'm using the whole card pool because things are hard enough, and I don't think you can do some of the broken interactions. You can do some, not all of them, I guess. With solo, just because you're at the mercy of a lot of things happening and you don't have time to set up crazy combinations of cards, which I think Legacy just kind of invites too much at this point. So I'm either doing that or I'm doing some weird deck building challenge with uh, with Legacy, and I don't want to stop doing those sorts of things. So I'm going to continue to play Legacy in those contexts, but I'll throw in probably some runs where I'm just playing whatever the current environment is too to see what that's like. That's a deck building challenge to some extent too, and I like to challenge myself in deck building and playing um, as my preferred dial of difficulty rather than increasing the difficulty to like hard or expert. I mean, I might do that too, but at some point. But to me, the deck building part is fun and interesting, and having limitations makes me think more about what's good, what's not good, where can I squeeze some value out of cards. So that's kind of where I'm at going in the future. Again, I have no idea what products are being released next year. We'll see, but it's nice to have another set of cards that I'm familiar with that continue to live on. And I hope you feel the same way. All right, that's it. I'll see you next time.